They tied her hands, dressed her in white, and walked her into the forest to die. She was offered to the werewolves as a sacrifice, because no one would miss her. But what the humans didn't know was that the Alpha King would see her, and instead of killing her, he fell in love. This is the story of a girl meant to die, who became a queen. Watch till the end, because this story will change everything. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment. Let's begin. The bell rang once, then twice, then a third time. That sound meant only one thing in the human kingdom of Ravenfall. The choosing had begun. Elena Harper stood at the back of the crowded town square, her fingers tight around the basket of bread she had baked that morning. The air felt heavy, like the sky was holding its breath. People whispered around her, their voices low, afraid. 10 years already, a woman murmured. Yes, another replied. The wolves are waiting. Elena swallowed hard. She had grown up hearing stories about the werewolves who lived beyond the Blackwood forest. Stories of sharp teeth, glowing eyes, and blood-soaked moons. Stories mothers told their children to keep them from wandering at night. Every 10 years the humans send a sacrifice. One girl. Alive. The bell rang again, louder this time. A tall man in red robes stepped forward onto the stone platform. He was High Priest Alden, the voice of the king when the king did not want to speak himself. Behind him stood soldiers with steel armor and cold eyes. High Priest Alden raised his hands. People of Ravenfall, he said. Today we honor the ancient treaty that keeps our kingdom safe. No one cheered. No one smiled. Elena felt her chest tighten. The priest continued. The werewolves demand blood, as they always have. And as always, we will give one life to save thousands. A quiet sob broke through the crowd. Elena looked around and saw mothers holding their daughters closer. Girls no older than 16 trembled, tears sliding down their faces. Elena was 20, an orphan. No parents, no siblings, no one important. She worked as a helper in the bakery and slept in a small room behind the shop. She had no last name that meant anything. No one powerful to protect her. She felt something cold crawl up her spine. The priest opened a long scroll. Names were written on it. Elena's heart began to race. This year, the priest said, the choosing was made by the council and approved by the king. People leaned forward. The chosen sacrifice is... Elena's breath caught. Elena Harper. For a moment the world stopped. Elena did not understand what she had heard. Me. She looked around, waiting for someone to laugh, to say it was a mistake. But no one did. Instead, the crowd slowly turned toward her. Some faces showed pity. Some showed relief. Others showed nothing at all. The basket slipped from Elena's hands and hit the ground. Bread rolled across the stones, forgotten. No, she whispered. No, you're wrong. 2 soldiers began to walk toward her. Elena took a step back. I think you made a mistake, she said, her voice shaking. I didn't do anything wrong. The soldiers did not answer. People moved away from her, creating space like fear itself was pushing them back. Please, Elena said, her voice rising. Please, someone. She looked at the baker, Mrs. Collins, the woman who had let her sleep behind the shop for years. Mrs. Collins turned her face away. Elena's heart broke. By the law of the land, High Priest Alden said loudly, the chosen must not resist. The soldiers reached her. One grabbed her arm. Let go of me. Elena cried. Please. I'll do anything. The second soldier tied cold iron chains around her wrists. Iron burned against her skin. Elena Harper, the priest said, his voice softer now. Your sacrifice will bring peace. She laughed then. A broken, painful sound. Peace for who? She asked. Because not for me. The priest did not answer. She was pulled forward through the crowd. People watched her like she was already dead. As she passed, a little girl reached out and touched Elena's dress. I'm sorry, the girl whispered. Elena bent down as far as the chains allowed. Don't ever let them choose you, Elena said gently. Run if you ever have to. Tears filled the child's eyes. Elena was pushed forward again. At the edge of the square stood a white cart pulled by 2 horses. On it lay a simple white dress. The sacrifice must wear white, the priest said. Elena stared at the dress. So they can see the blood better, she asked quietly. One of the soldiers hesitated. The other pushed her toward the cart. They forced her to change behind a thin screen. When she stepped out, the white dress hung loosely on her thin body. She looked like a ghost already. The chains were removed, but iron cuffs were locked around her ankles instead. You will walk, the priest said. The forest must accept you willingly. Elena looked up at the sky. Gray clouds moved slowly like they were watching. As she was led out of the square, she heard whispers behind her. She has no family. No one will challenge it. It had to be someone. Elena closed her eyes. So this was how her life ended. Not because she was guilty, but because she was alone. The Blackwood forest stood tall and dark before her. Its trees were thick, their branches twisting together like claws. The path leading into it was narrow and covered in dead leaves. This was where sacrifices were left. Alive. The soldiers stopped at the edge of the forest. One of them cleared his throat. This is as far as we go. Elena looked at him. That's it, she asked. You just leave me here. Yes, he said, not meeting her eyes. She glanced back toward the kingdom. The towers of Ravenfall were barely visible now. So you send me to die, she said. And you won't even watch. The younger soldier shifted uncomfortably. I'm sorry, he muttered. Elena gave a sad smile. Then don't do this again, she said. The older soldier unlocked the cuffs around her ankles. Once we leave, he said, you must not follow us. Elena laughed softly. Where would I go? The soldier stepped back. For a moment no one moved. Then the younger soldier placed something on the ground near her. Small loaf of bread. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, she whispered. He nodded once and turned away. The soldiers walked back down the path, their armor fading into the distance. Elena was alone. The forest was silent. Too silent. She picked up the bread and held it close, like it was the last piece of her old life. Okay, she whispered to herself. Okay, just breathe. She took one step into the forest. The air changed immediately. Felt colder. Heavier. Her foot crunched on leaves. Sound echoed. She froze. Her heart pounded so loud she was sure something would hear it. Elena, she whispered to herself. Just walk. She moved deeper into the forest step by step. Every shadow looked like teeth. Every sound felt like death coming closer. A branch snapped. She spun around. Hello, she called, her voice shaking. No answer. She hugged her arms around herself and kept walking. Minutes passed. Then hours. Her legs burned. Her throat was dry. The bread was gone. Night slowly fell. The moon rose, full and bright. Elena stopped. She had heard the stories. Full moons were when the wolves hunted. She backed up against a tree, sliding down until she was sitting on the cold ground. This is it, she whispered. Her hands trembled. She closed her eyes. I didn't even get to live, she said softly. I just wanted something small. Home. Someone to care. A low sound echoed through the forest. Howl. Elena's eyes flew open. Another howl answered it. Closer. Her breath came fast. She stood, panic taking over, and ran. Branches cut her arms. Her dress tore. She didn't stop. Her foot caught on a root. She fell hard to the ground. Pain shot through her ankle. She cried out. The forest went quiet. Too quiet. Elena tried to stand but collapsed again. I can't, she sobbed. I can't. Footsteps approached. Low. Heavy. She crawled backward until her back hit a tree. Tears streamed down her face. Please, she whispered. Please don't hurt me. A shadow moved between the trees. Broad. Eyes glowing gold. Elena squeezed her eyes shut. this is how it ends. But no claws touched her. No teeth. Instead, a deep voice spoke, low, calm, and shocked. You are human. Elena opened her eyes. Before her stood a man, but not fully human. His eyes glowed like fire. His presence felt powerful, dangerous, and strange. He knelt slowly in front of her. Why are you here? He asked. Elena's voice shook. They sent me. Sent you, he repeated. As a sacrifice, she said, tears falling freely now. Please, if you're going to kill me, just do it quickly. The man stared at her for a long moment. Then his voice changed. Orphan. You are not running, he said. You are not screaming. She laughed weakly. I already did that. He studied her like she was a puzzle. What is your name? He asked. Elena, she whispered. Elena Harper. The forest seemed to hold its breath. The man stood slowly. You are under my protection now, he said. Elena blinked. What? He turned his glowing eyes toward the darkness. Tell the pack, he growled. The sacrifice belongs to the Alpha King. Elena collapsed unconscious. And the forest howled in shock. Elena woke up slowly. First she thought she was dead. The ground beneath her was soft, not cold like the forest floor. A warm smell filled the air. Firewood, herbs, and something wild she could not explain. Her body felt heavy but not in pain. She opened her eyes. Above her was a high wooden ceiling, carved with strange symbols. The walls were made of stone, but warm light flickered from torches fixed into them. She gasped and tried to sit up. Easy. The voice was deep and calm. Elena froze. Her heart started pounding again. She turned her head slowly. The man from the forest stood near the fire. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark clothes made of leather and fur. His golden eyes watched her carefully, not like a hunter watching prey, but like a guard watching something fragile. You fainted, he said. You are safe. Elena pulled the blanket tighter around herself. Safe, she whispered. Where am I? My hall, he replied. You are in the werewolf kingdom. Her breath caught. She tried to move away, but her ankle throbbed painfully. He noticed. You are injured, he said. A healer treated you. She looked down. Her ankle was wrapped with clean cloth. You didn't kill me, she said, confused. No. Why? The man was quiet for a moment. Then he stepped closer, stopping a few feet away so he would not frighten her. My name is Lucian Blackwood, he said. I am the Alpha King. Elena's eyes widened. The Alpha King. The one humans feared more than death itself. She swallowed. They told us you tear people apart, she said softly. Lucian's jaw tightened slightly. Humans tell many stories, he replied. Some are true. Some are not. She looked into his glowing eyes, expecting cruelty. Instead she saw something else. Why did you kneel before me in the forest? Elena asked. Why did you stop them? Lucian turned away and stared into the fire. Because when I looked at you, he said slowly, I did not see a sacrifice. He faced her again. I saw a girl who had already been broken by her own kind. Elena felt tears rise to her eyes. They chose me because no one would miss me, she said. I was easy to give away. Lucian clenched his fist. That is not weakness, he said. That is cruelty. A low growl echoed from outside the hall. Lucian's eyes darkened. They know you are here, he said. Who? Elena asked. The pack. The doors burst open. Several werewolves entered. Some in human form, some half-shifted, eyes glowing, teeth sharp. Their anger filled the room like smoke. This breaks the law, one of them shouted. A tall man with scars across his face stepped forward. Eliminating the sacrifice is tradition, he said. You cannot change that. Lucian stepped between them and Elena. She is under Alpha protection, he said coldly. The room went silent. That law is older than you, the scarred wolf argued. And I am Alpha King, Lucian replied. My word is law. The scarred wolf looked at Elena with disgust. She is human, he said. Weak. Fearful. Elena forced herself to sit up straighter. I am afraid, she said, her voice shaking but clear. But I am not weak. The wolves stared at her, surprised. Lucian glanced at her, something like pride flashing in his eyes. The sacrifice lives, Lucian said. Anyone who challenges this challenges me. No one spoke. Finally the scarred wolf bowed stiffly. As you command, Alpha, he said. They left the hall, their footsteps heavy. Elena exhaled shakily. Lucian turned to her. You should rest, he said. You are not their enemy. She looked at him. Neither are you, she replied. For the first time in many years Lucian smiled, just a little. Word spread fast through the werewolf kingdom. The Alpha King had spared the sacrifice. By morning, Elena could feel the tension in the air. Wolves watched her from doorways, from shadows, from high stone paths. Some looked curious. Others looked angry. She stayed close to Lucian. He walked with calm confidence, his presence forcing others to step aside. Elena noticed how they respected him, not because they feared him but because they trusted him. Why are they so angry? She asked quietly. Because the sacrifice keeps balance, Lucian replied. Humans give us one life so we do not take many. That's not balance, Elena said. That's murder. Lucian stopped walking. He looked at her closely. You speak boldly for a human, he said. Because I almost died, she answered. He nodded slowly. They entered a large circular chamber. Stone seats rose around a central platform. This is the Blood Council, Lucian said. They will decide your fate. Elena's heart dropped. I thought you already did, she whispered. I protected you, he said. Now I must defend that choice. The council gathered. Elders with silver hair. Warriors with battle scars. Leaders of powerful packs. The scarred wolf from before stepped forward. My name is Marcus Hale, he said. Beta of the Northern Pack. Lucian nodded. Speak. Marcus pointed at Elena. This human threatens our treaty. If the humans learn she lives, they will send soldiers. They will break the peace. Elena stepped forward before Lucian could stop her. They already broke the peace, she said. They used me. Murmurs filled the chamber. Marcus sneered. Humans always lie. Lucian raised his hand. Enough. He faced the council. According to the law of blood, Lucian said, any life spared by the Alpha becomes the Alpha's responsibility. Gasps echoed. That law is dangerous, an elder said. I accept the risk, Lucian replied. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Then bind her to you, he said. Make it official. Silence fell. Elena looked at Lucian. What does that mean? She whispered. Lucian's voice was low. It means if you are harmed, I answer with blood. If you betray us, I answer with my life. Elena felt dizzy. That's too much, she said. Lucian knelt before her again. Look at me, he said. She met his eyes. I will not force you, he said. But if you leave this hall unprotected, they will kill you. Elena looked around. At the angry faces, the sharp teeth, then back at Lucian. No one has ever chosen me, she said softly. She took a deep breath. I choose to live. Lucian stood and turned to the council. By my blood, he declared, slicing his palm with a claw. Dark blood dripped onto the stone. Elena gasped. He took her hand gently. Trust me, he said. She nodded. He pressed his bleeding palm to her wrist. The room shook. A low, powerful howl rose from the ground itself. Golden light flashed briefly between them. The bond was formed. Marcus stepped back, shocked. It's done, Lucian said. She is under Alpha law. Elena felt warmth spread through her chest. Not fear. Safety. Belonging. The council bowed. But Marcus's eyes burned with something dangerous. This will change everything, he said. Lucian met his gaze. Yes, he replied. It will. Elena looked at their joined hands. She had walked into the forest to die. Instead, she had stepped into a fate that would shake two worlds. Elena did not sleep well that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the warmth of Lucian's blood against her skin and heard the echo of the howl that shook the council chamber. The bond was quiet now, but it was there, like a soft pull in her chest, steady and alive. She sat up slowly on the wide bed inside the guest chamber Lucian had given her. The word felt strange. She had never been a guest anywhere before. A soft knock came at the door. "Elena!" A female voice called. "Yes," she answered. The door opened and a woman stepped inside. She was tall and strong, with dark hair tied back and sharp gray eyes. But there was no anger in her face, only curiosity. "My name is Ava," she said. "I'm the healer who treated your ankle." Elena smiled gently. "Thank you. It feels much better." Ava nodded, walking closer. "You heal fast for a human." Elena blinked. "Is that bad?" Ava studied her for a long moment, then shrugged. "It's interesting." She handed Elena a simple dress made of soft brown cloth. "Alpha King Lucian said you should walk today," Ava said. "See the grounds. Let the pack see you are not afraid." Elena hesitated. "They don't like me." Ava smiled slightly. "They don't understand you yet. That's different." When Elena stepped outside, the sunlight surprised her. The werewolf kingdom was not dark and terrifying like the stories said. Stone buildings stood strong and clean. Wolves walked openly, some in human form, others shifting between shapes with ease. They all stopped when they saw her. Whispers followed her steps. "That's her. The human. The sacrifice." Elena felt her chest tighten, but she kept walking. She reminded herself of Lucian's words. "You are under my protection." As she passed a training field, she saw Lucian. He was sparring with two warriors at once, moving fast, powerful, controlled. When he knocked both men to the ground, the watching wolves cheered. Lucian turned. His eyes found her instantly. The bond stirred. He walked toward her, calm but alert. "You should not be alone," he said. "I didn't want to hide," Elena replied. "If I'm going to stay, they should see me." Lucian studied her face, then nodded. "Walk with me," he said. They moved through the kingdom together. Some wolves bowed to Lucian. Others stared at Elena openly. "Do you regret it?" Elena asked quietly. Lucian looked at her. "Regret what?" "Protecting me," she said. "Breaking your laws." Lucian stopped walking. "I have broken bones, spilled blood and started wars," he said. "This is the first time I feel like I did something right." Elena felt warmth spread through her chest. Later that day, Elena noticed a young wolf struggling near the healer's tent. He had a deep cut on his arm and was clearly in pain. Ava was busy with another patient. Elena stepped forward without thinking. "May I help?" she asked. The wolf stared at her. "You're human." "Yes," Elena said. "But I can clean a wound." He hesitated, then sat down. Elena worked gently, cleaning the cut and wrapping it carefully. "You didn't have to," the wolf muttered. "I know," Elena said. "But I wanted to." By evening, word spread quickly. The human healed one of ours. Lucian watched from a distance, something unfamiliar tightening in his chest. For the first time since becoming Alpha King, the weight he carried felt lighter. And that frightened him. The full moon rose slowly. Lucian felt it long before it appeared in the sky. Pull. A fire. He paced his chamber, fists clenched, breath heavy. The bond between him and Elena hummed painfully now, alive and demanding. Marcus stood near the doorway, watching him closely. "You should not be near her tonight," Marcus said. "The moon makes instincts stronger." Lucian growled softly. "I am in control." Marcus stepped closer. "You're not worried about yourself. You're worried about her." Lucian said nothing. Across the hall, Elena stood by the window, staring at the moon. Her heart beat fast for reasons she did not understand. She felt drawn, pulled. "Why do I feel like this?" she whispered. Ava appeared behind her. "You're bound to the Alpha," Ava said carefully. "The bond reacts to the moon." Elena turned. "Is it dangerous?" Ava hesitated. "Only if resisted." Before Elena could ask more, the door opened. Lucian stood there. His eyes glowed brighter than before. "Elena," he said, his voice low. "You should stay inside." She swallowed. "So should you." He almost smiled. They stood too close. The air between them felt heavy. "I can hear your heart," Lucian said quietly. "It's racing." Elena's cheeks warmed. "So is yours." His breath caught. The bond surged. Lucian stepped back suddenly, gripping the wall. "This is a mistake," he growled. "You are human." "And you saved me," Elena replied. "That has to mean something." Howl echoed outside. Lucian doubled over, pain flashing across his face. "Elena," he said sharply. "Go. Now." She shook her head. "No. I won't leave you like this." He looked at her, shocked. "You don't understand," he said. "I could hurt you." Elena stepped closer, fear in her eyes, but trust too. "I trust you," she whispered. The words shattered something inside him. Lucian fell to one knee, breathing hard. Elena reached out slowly and placed her hand over his chest. Pain eased. The fire calmed. Lucian froze. The bond snapped tight. His voice was rough. "What are you?" Elena shook her head. "I don't know." He looked up at her, eyes burning gold. "This bond," he said. "It's not just protection." Elena's breath caught. "Then what is it?" Lucian stood slowly, his forehead resting against hers. "It's choosing," he said. "And it should not exist between us." Elena closed her eyes. "Then why does it feel right?" she whispered. Outside, the pack howled, confused, shocked, restless. Marcus watched from the shadows, his face dark. "This bond will destroy us," he muttered. Inside the chamber, Lucian gently took Elena's hand. The Alpha King, feared by all, had found his greatest weakness. And his greatest hope. Elena began to notice the changes 3 days after the full moon. First, they were small things. Her ankle, which had been badly injured in the forest, no longer hurt at all. Not even a dull ache. She walked easily without limping, without pain. Then there was her hearing. She could hear whispers from across the courtyard. Footsteps she should not have noticed. Even heartbeats, slow, fast, angry, calm. It frightened her. She sat on the edge of her bed one morning, staring at her hands. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. A knock came at the door. Lucian entered, his expression serious. He had been watching her closely these past days. He felt it too. The strange shift in the bond, the way Elena's presence felt stronger, brighter. "You didn't come to breakfast," he said. "I wasn't hungry," Elena replied. Then she looked up at him. "Lucian, I think something is wrong with me." He frowned slightly. "Tell me." She hesitated, then said, "I can hear things, feel things. I healed too fast." Lucian went still. "That should not be possible," he said slowly. "Everyone keeps saying that," Elena replied. "But it's happening anyway." Lucian turned and left the room without another word. Fear crept into Elena's chest. Lucian went straight to the oldest part of the stronghold, the memory chamber. Only one person waited there. Elder Rowan, the oldest living werewolf, his hair white. His eyes sharp with knowledge collected over centuries. "You feel it too," Rowan said calmly as Lucian entered. "Yes," Lucian replied. "The bond is changing her." Rowan shook his head. "No. The bond is waking something that was already there." Lucian's jaw tightened. "Explain." Rowan walked to a stone wall carved with symbols of moons, wolves, and bloodlines. "Long ago," Rowan said, "before the treaty with humans, there was unity. Love between kinds. Rare but powerful." Lucian's eyes narrowed. "You're saying Elena is not fully human, Rowan finished. Her blood remembers. Lucian felt the ground shift beneath him. That's impossible, he said. Humans would have known. Rowan gave a sad smile. They buried it, feared it, killed those who carried it. Lucian turned away, anger burning in his chest. She was sacrificed because they knew, he said. Because they wanted her gone. Rowan nodded. Or because they feared what she could become. When Lucian returned, Elena was in the courtyard, helping children carry water. Wolves, young ones. They laughed around her. Lucian stopped stunned. She fit too easily. Elena, he called. She turned, smiling, then stopped when she saw his face. What is it? She asked. We need to talk, he said. They walked in silence until they reached a quiet balcony overlooking the forest. Lucian took a deep breath. You are changing because you are not what you think you are, he said. Her smile faded. What do you mean? You carry werewolf blood, Lucian said carefully. Old blood. Royal blood. Elena stared at him. That's not funny, she said. I am not joking. She shook her head. My mother was human. She died cleaning floors in the castle. She wasn't royal. Lucian stepped closer. What was her name? Marian Harper, Elena replied softly. Why? Lucian's breath caught. Rowan's words echoed in his mind. She disappeared, Lucian said quietly. Years ago. A woman who refused to choose sides. Elena's knees weakened. No, she whispered. She told me to hide. To never stand out. Lucian placed a steady hand on her shoulder. She was protecting you. Tears filled Elena's eyes. All this time they knew, she said. They used me because of my blood. Lucian's voice hardened. They will pay for that. That night, the pack gathered restlessly. Marcus watched from the shadows. His expression dark and troubled. The Alpha King was losing control. The human girl was becoming something else. And that terrified him. The attack came at dawn. The alarm horn sounded loud and sharp, echoing through the stronghold. Lucian was on his feet instantly. Soldiers, a guard shouted. Human soldiers at the eastern border. Elena rushed into the hall, her heart pounding. What's happening? She asked. Lucian grabbed a sword from the wall. They came for you, he said grimly. Her blood ran cold. Why now? Because they know, Marcus said, stepping forward. And they're afraid. Smoke rose in the distance. Human banners appeared through the trees. Dozens of soldiers in steel armor, weapons raised. At their center rode a man in gold-trimmed armor. Lucian's eyes burned. King Edward, he growled. Elena's breath caught. The king. Lucian turned to her. Stay here. She shook her head. No. This started with me. Lucian hesitated, then nodded once. They met the human army at the forest edge. King Edward dismounted, his expression hard. Elena Harper, he called. Return to us. Elena stepped forward. You sent me to die, she said. Why do you want me back now? Edward's lips tightened. You are a mistake, he said. A danger. Lucian stepped beside her, towering. She is under my protection, he said. Leave. Edward laughed coldly. You think a beast can protect her better than her own kind? Elena felt something snap inside her. My own kind betrayed me, she said loudly. You chose me because no one would defend me. A woman stepped forward then. Beautiful. Cold-eyed. Isabella Harper. Elena froze. My sister, Isabella said softly. I'm sorry. Elena stared at her. You knew. Isabella looked away. I begged him to choose someone else. That's a lie, Elena said. Isabella's silence confirmed it. Lucian's voice thundered. This ends now. Edward raised his hand. Archers lifted their bows. Elena stepped in front of Lucian without thinking. Stop, she shouted. Something changed. The air trembled. The wolves felt it. The humans did too. Elena's eyes glowed faintly silver. I will not be your sacrifice anymore, she said. I choose my own fate. The soldiers hesitated. Edward's face twisted with fear. Kill her, he shouted. Lucian moved instantly. The forest exploded into motion. Wolves shifting, soldiers screaming, steel clashing with claws. But Elena stood still. Power surged through her. Not violent, not wild. Commanding. Enough, she cried. The ground shook. Both sides froze. Lucian stared at her in awe. Edward fell to his knees, trembling. Elena lowered her hand slowly. This is the last time humans come for me, she said. If you want peace, you will leave now. Edward looked at Lucian, then at Elena. And for the first time the human king bowed. The soldiers retreated. Silence fell. Elena swayed, suddenly weak. Lucian caught her before she fell. He held her close, his voice low and fierce. You are not alone anymore, he said. And you will never be used again. From the shadows Marcus watched. The bond was no longer just dangerous. It was unstoppable. The forest stayed silent long after the human soldiers retreated. No bird sang. No wind moved. Every werewolf stood frozen, staring at Elena. She leaned heavily against Lucian, her body weak from the power she had released. Her breathing was slow and uneven, but she was conscious. Lucian held her tightly, his arm firm around her waist. You should not have done that alone, he said quietly. Elena looked up at him, tired but calm. I was tired of being silent, she replied. Around them, wolves began to lower themselves, not in fear but in respect. Marcus stepped forward slowly, his face pale. That power, he said. That command. No human can do that. Elena straightened slightly. I didn't ask for it. Lucian turned to the gathered pack. You all felt it, he said loudly. The ancient blood. The royal line. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Elder Rowan stepped out from among them, leaning on his staff. There is no doubt anymore, Rowan said. She carries the blood of the first Luna. Gasps echoed. Lucian looked at Elena with new understanding. You are not only protected by the law, he said softly. You are part of it. Elena's eyes filled with emotion. All my life I thought I was nothing, she said. Now you're telling me I belong here. Rowan nodded. You were hidden, not forgotten. Marcus clenched his fists. This changes everything, he said. The packs will not accept this easily. Lucian met his gaze. They will. Or they will answer to me. Lucian turned to Elena and gently lifted her chin. You stood between two armies, he said. You stopped bloodshed without claws or steel. Elena swallowed. I didn't want anyone else to die because of me. Lucian's voice was firm, filled with pride. That is why you are stronger than any alpha. That night, the werewolf kingdom gathered in the great stone circle. Torches burned high. The moon watched from above. This gathering had not happened in generations. Elena stood beside Lucian, dressed in a deep silver gown given to her by Ava. It fit her perfectly, as if it had always belonged to her. She felt nervous. They're all staring, she whispered. Lucian leaned closer. Because they're choosing whether to follow history or make it. Rowan raised his staff. Tonight, he announced, we recognize what has been awakened. He turned to Elena. Child of two worlds, do you stand before us by choice? Elena took a deep breath. Yes, she said clearly. I choose this kingdom. I choose peace. Rowan turned to Lucian. Alpha King Lucian Blackwood, do you stand with her? Lucian did not hesitate. With my life. Rowan struck the stone once. Then by ancient law she is named Luna Queen. The circle erupted in sound. Some wolves bowed immediately. Others hesitated. Marcus stepped forward. His voice was loud, clear, and heavy with meaning. I challenged her existence, he said. I doubted her strength. He dropped to one knee. But I will not deny what I saw. I accept her as my queen. One by one the others followed. Elena's heart trembled. Lucian took her hand. "You are not alone anymore," he whispered. For the first time she believed it. Peace did not come easily, but it came. In the weeks that followed, Elena learned what it meant to rule. She walked among the wolves, listening more than speaking. She sat with healers, warriors, and children. She learned their fears. Lucian watched her closely. "You rule differently," he said one evening as they stood on the balcony. "I don't want fear," Elena replied. "I want loyalty." Lucian smiled. "You already have both." Messengers were sent to the human kingdom. Elena insisted on it. "They need to hear it from me," she said. King Edward arrived weeks later, alone. He looked smaller now, older. He knelt before Elena without being asked. "I was wrong," he said. "I let fear rule me." Elena studied him. "You let fear turn me into a sacrifice," she replied calmly. Edward bowed his head. "I know." Elena turned to Lucian, then back to Edward. "There will be no more sacrifices," she said. "Ever." Edward nodded quickly. "We agree." "The treaty will change," she continued. "Peace will be built on respect, not blood." Edward swallowed. "And if humans refuse?" Lucian stepped forward, his voice cold. "Then they answer to me." Edward understood. Before leaving, he looked at Elena one last time. "You became something greater than we feared," he said quietly. Elena answered, "I became something you refused to protect." That night, the kingdom celebrated. Music filled the air. Fires burned bright. Wolves laughed freely. Elena stood in the center of it all, watching the life around her. Lucian approached her. "There is one last law," he said softly. "One we have not spoken of." Elena looked at him. "What law?" "The Luna Queen does not stand alone," he said. "She stands beside her alpha." Her heart skipped. "Is that an order?" she asked gently. Lucian shook his head. "It's a choice," he said. "Always." Elena took his hands. "I was chosen once," she said. "This time, I choose." She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. The bond settled, complete, calm, unbreakable. Above them the moon shone brighter. Years later, humans would tell the story in whispers. Of the girl sent into the forest to die. Of the Alpha King who defied ancient law. Of a sacrifice who became a queen. And every child, human or wolf, would know her name. Elena Blackwood. The queen who ended the age of blood. The girl who walked into darkness and came out as a legend. She walked into the forest as a sacrifice and walked out as a legend. If this story touched your heart, if you believe love can rise from betrayal, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more emotional supernatural stories like this. And comment below. Would you choose love or revenge? Thank you for watching. Until the next story.